Switching to now the NBA, the documentary that has taken the sports world by storm because there's nothing else to watch. The Last Dance Michael Jordan documentary. I know you said you had. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say full disclosure. I didn't even know it was on. I've read articles about after the fact. I heard 10th episode. I apparently was watching the wrong things because I did not know that this show.
Fair enough. On. Yeah, I've watched the entire thing. I guess you have the benefit of living through it. I was born in '93, so I did not really understand what was going on throughout that time in the '90s. So it was interesting to watch. Obviously, I knew about Jordan. I knew about his crazy determination, his crazy work ethic. I knew that he won 6 championships. I knew that he went to play baseball after his dad died. But I did not know much about this Jerry Krause situation. That Jerry Krause was the GM that decided that he is above everyone else and knows more than everyone else, and I don't need Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen anymore. I can build a team without him. And he even went as far as to say is, I don't care if Phil Jackson goes 82-0 and wins the championship, he will not be the Chicago Bulls head coach next year. So, wow, okay.
Jerry Krause wasn't a people person, and let me just start by saying, I didn't like when Michael Jordan was playing. I didn't like the Bulls. You know, they were the best team, and of course, I was a lowly Bullets fan. And whenever they switched over to the Wizards. So I didn't like the Bulls. They were the king of the hill, so kind of wanted to see them knocked off. So I wasn't a close follower of them, but I did know certain things just because they were always number one or near the top of the list. They were in the news a lot. But that Jerry Krause was egotistical. He was not a people person.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get along with the players. But even I think I read Scottie Pippen said that he played, how did he say it? He played with the best player in basketball and he played for the best GM. And he was saying that about Jerry Krause because regardless of what you say about him, he made the deals to make that team what it was. And
100%,
to the extent that Michael Jackson didn't carry it, and Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, you know, they did their part, but that Jerry Krause was someone that knew how to build a winning team. So he got
Phil Jackson started. I mean, Phil Jackson was not some highly touted coach that everybody wanted, and he got lucky enough to have him. It's like Phil Jackson was a hippie. I didn't know this about Phil Jackson either. Phil Jackson was a hippie, like long hair, like didn't care about it much, the blah blah blah, and it's like he kind of took him under his wing, and he was an assistant coach first under Doug Collins, and then ended up becoming the heir afterwards to be the head coach when Doug Collins left. And so finding Phil Jackson, he drafted Jordan. He traded on draft day for Scottie Pippen. He loved Tony Kukoc when he was playing in Europe, so he recruited him. Went after Dennis Rodman, went after Steve Kerr, drafted who is the big guy in the first three-peat?
Are you talking about Grant?
Horace Grant.
Horace Grant.
Yep. So he built a very, 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 very good team, and somehow got everyone to take very little money. Like, you look at it, Scottie Pippen was, I'm sure you agree, was the second best player on that team.
Yeah.
He was the 7th highest paid player on the Bulls. He was making less than $3 million a year when Michael Jordan was making like 33. Michael Jordan was taking 58% of the salary cap. So he built a team around him without much money comparatively.
But I know, but I also think that wore on Scottie Pippen, and that's why we get a little bit later talking about him, why he had the attitude with the Bulls that he did.
Oh yeah, 100%. He did not like that because Scottie Pippen talked about it where he was given a 7-year deal of like $18 million or something like that. It was completely ridiculous that he ever would have signed it, but he didn't come from much, and he determined that it's like, I need to sign this deal to take care of my family. I need to sign this deal to take care of my situation. And so I signed it. Like, I just felt like I couldn't he felt as though he did not have the negotiation power to continue this negotiation. So, but he stayed with it, obviously, because he loved Phil Jackson, he loved Michael Jordan, and he could have said a lot earlier, like after 3 or 4 years, like, trade me or pay me more. Like, I ain't coming back to the facilities until you do that. But he stayed with it for the remainder of the contract until 98 when the team disbanded, and then he finally moved on after Phil and Michael Jordan left. So I guess you may not be able to give credit to Jerry Krause in that situation. But
right. And I found it interesting that I read, and I don't want to necessarily jump ahead, but that he actually went to what's Charles Barkley's team? It's escaping me right
Suns?
now. Phoenix Suns, and said that basically Scottie Pippen didn't get along with Charles Barkley at all. That he stayed there 1 year and he was like, I'm out. And they said that he couldn't deal with Charles Barkley. So, and I've always kind of like, I've always had a soft spot for Charles Barkley, but that's an entirely different subject. But anyway, back on track.
No worries. Yeah, let's see here. I wrote some notes down. So there was a game. So just staying on the Scottie Pippen, there was a game in the 94 season. So the season that Michael Jordan was not there, that Scottie Pippen, it came down to the last second in the, I believe it was the Eastern Conference semifinals. There was a last second play where Phil Jackson drew it up for Tony Kukoc instead of Scottie Pippen.
Yep.
And Scottie Pippen got upset and decided that he was going to stay on the bench and not come into the game. And this was the downfall of that 94 season, because after that the team talks...
He took his shoes off.
Yeah.
That's why he was basically like, you're not going to be able to call me in the game.
After that, like Steve Kerr and some of the other teammates talked about where they just could not believe their best player gave up on them. That it was a very weird feeling the next day at practice, and then
LeBron James.
Yeah, the early LeBron with Cavaliers when he decided that he was going to leave, that he did not have interest in winning for Cleveland, and I believe it was 09.
I was trying to make that subliminal. I was trying not to make it audible.
But anyway, but so it was a horrible situation, and Scottie says that he regrets it, but then in the same breath says, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Very
I think
weird.
athletes are egotistical. I mean, in general, you have very few and Darryl Green type athletes. Were just not, didn't seem to have much of an ego, seemed to be a regular guy. There's very few of them out there.
Barry Sanders just handing the ball to the ref after every touchdown.
Barry Sanders, another great example. That you don't have a whole lot of them in the league, that most of these guys have gone through their high school and college, and they were the big man on campus, and they have an ego. And so he was a product of his own ego, or a victim of his own ego, however you want to say it. But
I understand, and the time why he did it, right? Obviously, he shouldn't have done it, but I completely understand getting ticked off and storming off, or ticked off and deciding I'm out or whatever. I'm definitely not above that. But the weird part is acknowledging what he did was wrong, saying that it was wrong, not liking what he did.
But then he wouldn't change anything.
But then he's saying, I wouldn't change it. Very weird dynamic. A lot of people had a lot to say on that. So that was... What's up, guys? Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. The like button is on this side for mobile. If you have any of your own thoughts or questions, comment down below. We may just answer it next video. Thanks. See ya.